I've been really struggling with Destiny's Divide over these last few days. I think I like the card game, but it's got a bit too much going on for me. I'm someone who enjoys a good round or two of Munchkin where it's silly and the concept is relatively simple to grasp. But I also really see the appeal of Destiny's Divide, where every match feels dark and gritty and that there's a lot of strategy and depth that goes into building out your decks and deciding what cards to play. You've got heroes you choose to represent your deck, each with their own health pools and different abilities. There's even a shared card system where you and your opponents both place 2 cards each that either of you can use at any time if you have the points on your turn. I don't think I've seen that in a card game before, and I like being able to use my opponent's own cards against them. My first time launching up Destiny's Divide, I played a few rounds before going to bed, and I left excited to play more the following morning. This card game is free to play, but I did receive a review key for it that got me access to a bunch of card packs, which seemed great at first, but this is also where my interest in the game started to fall off. When it comes to video games, I play them a lot, but I still fit more into the casual gamer stereotype. If anything, I'd consider myself a hardcore casual. So when I started opening the card packs, it was overwhelming seeing all this information I now had to consume on each individual card, and then to build a deck I'd want to use, it would involve a lot of time and commitment reading even more cards and figuring out which ones went with what. It was just far too much for me. So I skipped through the rest of the packs, and I just looked at the fancy pictures of the special cards I got out of it too. I saw a lot of comments about people complaining that the easy AI was too strong and it was hard to get into the game, which I also kind of agree with. It's a tough fight. I think the easy AI was designed by someone who knows the ins and outs of how the game works, and it probably is almost an expert in their own right, which would mean that this AI, I'm sure, is something easy for them. On top of that, when deciding if you go first or second, going second seems to give you a huge advantage because on 3 different rounds you get to summon cards for less of a cost, and every time I decided to go first, I lost every time to the AI. It could also just be that I'm bad at the game, but once I started going second, I won every game after that. I really like the appeal of Destiny's Divide. The cards all mesh together into what feels like this exciting dark fantasy world that exists behind the game, so if you're big into card games with a lot of depth and strategy, then this might be something you'd be interested in. Especially since it's free to play. There's a lot going on both with the cards themselves and the universe that this all exists within. But for my casual gamers out there, well, this is probably something you could try, maybe you will like it, but don't expect to get super invested into building your own decks. But watching people that are good at it, I think this game has a lot of potential for that.